I hate it when that happens.
What the fuck? Even though I've had the idea for this video since before I even caught up on the Owl House, I was going to wait until we got some Season 2 promos or until Season 2 actually returned to have it out. But then I realized Ida got hardcore nerfed in the Season 1 finale, so I figured since Ida won't be getting stronger than she initially was anytime soon, there's not much of a point in waiting until then. Edelyn Clawthorn is the self-proclaimed strongest witch on the Boiling Isles, but just how strong is that? Welcome to my How Strong Is series, where I take a character from a cartoon franchise to list and calculate their feats like physical strength, speed, durability, to see how strong they really are. In the past, I've had trouble going super in depth with these kinds of power scaling videos due to lack of screen time of said character's strengths, but the good thing about Ida is she shows off her abilities in just about every single episode of Season 1, so there's not much to worry about here. But before we get into that, I've noticed for a while the majority of the people who watch my content on a regular basis aren't actually subscribed to my channel, so if you aren't yet, please consider hitting that subscribe button. It helps me out a lot more than you may think, and you'll be able to find my new videos much easier. Let's start by talking about Ida's incredible durability, which I think people tend to forget about. Personally, I believe her most notable showing of this otherworldly durability is when Warden Wrath chopped her head off, and she was still able to talk as well as move the rest of her body around. Granted, she wasn't able to move the rest of her body around normally at first, but I do want to address that Ida implied to Luz that losing your limbs easily can happen when you're older. So does that mean every witch on the Boiling Isles over the age of 40 can get their head chopped off and live? Can this apply to younger witchlings also, just to a less severe extent? These questions need to be answered, please. There's been a few times where she's lost her hand as well, where she seems to have felt no pain at all. The beheading at least made her yell out, ow. She was also able to take a point-blank magic blast from Lilith that sent her flying into a stadium wall hard enough to leave a major crack. Lilith is an incredibly strong witch in her own right, being the former second-in-command to Emperor Bellos himself, so for Ida to take damage like that and be able to get up to flee from the fight afterwards is very impressive. As for speed, I think the most notable examples are from when she fought Lilith in Agony of a Witch. As her first move, Ida dashed towards Lilith with enough speed where Lilith couldn't even react to Ida, even though she charged straight at her. She continues to dash at even faster speeds to the point where she literally turns into light flashes while in motion, so I think it's safe to say that when she's going all out, she's at least as fast as the speed of light. And if you don't know how fast the speed of light is, the speed of light is pretty much the equivalent of a car being able to travel roughly 186,000 miles in a single second. If Luz wasn't being held hostage and the curse wasn't a factor, Ida would have bodied Lilith pretty quickly in my opinion. As for her physical strength, there's not a ton to go off of here since most of Ida's fighting prowess comes from her magical abilities. The best example I can think of is from the episode Witches Before Wizards, when Ida punched the outside of her house hard enough to crack the outside as well as shake the entire house upon impact. I suppose Ida launching Lilith into the sky in their second fight could be used as another example, but I feel like the cause of that impact was more so about how fast Ida was going rather than using the muscles in her arms to knock Lilith up there, though I suppose that's up to personal interpretation. But of course, Ida's most notable abilities stem from her being a magical witch. Ida was the second strongest witch of the Boiling Isles. I know she says she's the strongest, but Emperor Bellos is right there. I mean, I think it's safe to say he was stronger even before she got nerfed. Because Ida never joined a coven, her magical abilities were never limited by the coven rules, so she's been able to use all different types of magic her whole life, ranging from fire magic to abominations. She still would have been able to use all this magic if she joined the Emperor's Coven, but I think Ida would have rather literally done anything than work under him. Granted, her wild magic philosophy she's had, where she draws power from the natural magic of the Isles itself, probably wouldn't have been allowed if she was in the Coven, but who knows. Ida is capable of all forms of elemental type magic. She used fire magic to conjure streams of flame in Witches Before Wizards. The flames she produced were powerful enough to completely incinerate 3 of Adagas's puppets, as well as burn the 3 tentacles holding the puppets severely enough, rendering them useless for combat. She used earth magic in her first fight with Lilith by forming the earth into giant owl-like pillars that were able to track Lilith's movement and swallow her whole. And she was able to create several of these other pillars that originated from the giant body of the first one. They were just smaller. Her lightning magic seems to be one of her most effective offensive forms of magic, as seen when she fought Lilith the second time. The spell is also capable of being shot out from multiple areas, and the trajectory of the blast can be changed before the blast reaches the target in case Ida changes her mind. Also, when Ida used this spell at different directions, I'm 100% convinced that form was inspired by Gilgamesh from the Fate series. The way Ida sent those blasts out looks so similar to his Gates of Babylon signature move. I'm not saying it's fact, but tell me these two images don't look incredibly similar. We don't really know the destructive power of the spell since Lilith was guarding against it the whole time. It was able to make a few holes in Lilith's barrier, but not completely destroy it. I'm gonna give Lilith the benefit of the doubt here and say the barrier spell she used on Luz wasn't nearly as durable as the one she used on herself, because Luz was able to break out of that thing by just using some momentum to push it into a pointy statue. Ida's capable of levitating / flying once again, seeing an agony of a witch. Man, she really went all out in that fight. She just used so many abilities we hadn't seen before. If she's able to fly like that, it makes me wonder why she uses her talisman to travel anyway. I guess if she overdid it with the flying, the curse would take effect though. Her flying speed seems to be just as fast as her dashing / running speed too. Her barrier magic is effective enough to protect the owl house from boiling rain. This rain was strong enough to knock down 4 different houses on the side of a cliff, and the average house weighs from 80,000 to 160,000 pounds, so for rain to be powerful enough to crumble all that weight is crazy. Her body swapping spell allows her to switch bodies with whomever she chooses. This ability, while cool, doesn't seem like it would be the most useful for combat. If she switches bodies with a witch weaker than her, she wouldn't be able to even put up a proper fight. Plus, the only way to reverse the spell is by using her staff. Her sleep spell, which she's used on Willow and the Slitherbeast, is also a great ability to immobilize her opponents. Finally, for her cursed Owlbeast form. This form is overall weaker than her base form in my opinion, since she can't perform magic while transformed. The only benefits are she doesn't have to worry about the flight overusage since she has wings in this form, and her physical strength is potentially greater because she's much larger. But again, she can't use magic, she's way less intelligent, is incredibly sensitive to light, and she attacks purely off feral instincts. After factoring in everything, I'd say Ida is more or less island level. Being a covenless witch allows her to have such a wide variety of powers, it's almost overwhelming. The curse is her main drawback though. While her magic is powerful, the duration she could use this magic for consistently became lower and lower over the years because of the curse. If Lilith never cursed Ida, I can say with confidence she'd be stronger than Emperor Bellows. The anatomical liberation is still the craziest thing to me personally. It was only shown once, but it's so broken when you really think about it. Ida straight up can't be killed by normal means. We don't know if this is an Ida specific power because of what she said though. Please let us know, Dana, please. Another thing I'd love to see was how strong Ida was in her prime, like before Lilith cursed her, just to get an idea of how strong she could have been when Luz first met her. Ah, damn you, curse, damn you. High-key might make a what-if type video on how certain events of the Owl House would have changed if Ida was never cursed in the first place. I think that'd be really cool. What do you guys think? But of course, if you enjoyed this video, be sure to leave a like down below, and another reminder to hit that subscribe button if you haven't yet, and I will see you guys next time. Peace out, take care, bye-bye.